Welcome, YouTube, to an unboxing of sorts. Now, I'm wearing this shirt, but like I said last time, I don't have any Transformers left for the time being. So I'm going to start going through a collection of toys I have sitting in my closet that I have accumulated over the last couple years, and I've been waiting to kind of unbox them until once I finished all my Transformers because they were the priority. And now I finally have that opportunity. So this is a really random video. It's just five items that I just kind of picked up haphazardly. Some really small. There's nothing too big in this one. And yeah, they don't necessarily all fit together, but based on the other stuff I have to come after this, they all have a theme and they're all kind of single or double reveals, not kind of a hodgepodge of a bunch of stuff. So I thought I'd start with this one, and then we will specialize and narrow things down as we go along, and we will start with my least favorite to my most favorite item as we work through these next I don't know, 4, 5, 6 videos based on the stuff I have in my closet right now. So as for this one, we got a few things. Like I said, there's 5 things. The first 2 things I got at I normally go to Dollarama. That's my dollar store of choice, but when I was in the area of the place that I was using to get my van's windshield replaced, I had to kill some time before I went in for my appointment. So there was a Dollar Tree, I believe was the store. So I went in there just to see, and it's like the dirtier kind of like more lowbrow kind of dollar store, but I still really enjoyed my experience there and found some stuff to buy. 2 of them being little tiny toys, and the little tiny toys in question are mini Masters of the Universe figures. We got Man-at-Arms and Mer-Man here. So bad guy, good guy. If you're not familiar with Masters of the Universe, it was a 1980s, maybe it even started in the late 70s, but no, I think it was early 80s. Cartoon by Hanna-Barbera, I believe, called He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. And He-Man was this kind of dorky guy named Adam, but when he used the power of the sword of Grayskull or whatever, he turned into He-Man, this big buff guy with a green tiger he used as his battle cat, and he defended the realm against an evil maniac named Skeletor. So if you want to see Skeletor, I actually did a time-lapse build of kind of a little Lego-ish type bust of, or little figure of Skeletor, who's actually, he's back on the shelf there beside Voltron a little bit. That's Skeletor there. So so that's He-Man. So we'll open up these 2 little guys. They're just basic figures, but I thought you don't see too much He-Man stuff around anymore, other than in specialty stores and stuff like that. Outside of kind of a new toy line they had on that new cartoon they had out the last couple of years. But otherwise, you know, it's pretty silent normally on the He-Man front. So I saw those 2 things and I was like, yep. And those are the only 2 they had. Otherwise, of course, I would have had more. Next up, at the local comic store I always go to and pick up my comics, they had a tiny Sidney Crosby McFarlane's Toys hockey figure. So we'll get that guy out of the box. I don't have his full-size figure because by the time Crosby came into the league, I'd kind of slowed down on my McFarlane's collectibles because I've already got a lot and they're not cheap. So I have so many hobbies. I had to okay, streamline, pick and choose, right? So we'll get Sid out of his box and see what he looks like. Another thing I really enjoyed that I found at Heroes was a small line of little characters made by Funko, but they're not the normal Funko Pops with you know, the big head and everything in the basic eyes and stuff like that. It's a line of actual, you know, normal sized figures, and it's just kind of random stuff. The one I got is Slash from Guns N' Roses. I noticed last time I went, they had Axel as well. They had a couple guys from Run DMC. Like, it's just a bunch. It's not all music too. It's some other stuff too. But those are the ones that stood out to me as the ones that I would most like to get. So I thought, you know, when do you ever get to bring home a Slash toy, right? Well, apparently a few weeks back. That's when I did it. So the last thing here, you may have heard about a little show from Fox called Firefly from well, not a long time ago, but a long enough time ago. Only ran for one season and then got canceled, and it had a really strong and loyal fan base, and everybody was like, "What the fuck?" Right? Like, Fox, what would you do that for? And it was an awesome show. I didn't watch it until years afterwards, and I fell hook, line, and sinker for the show. It is so good. It's like Star Wars meets the Wild West. It stars Nathan Fillion and what's the guy from Dodgeball? The pirate guy, Steve, I forget his name, Alan Tudyk, and a bunch of other people too. One of the Baldwin brothers. It's basically this crew of a ship called the Firefly. That after a war is over, they're kind of left. Um, Nathan Fillion plays the ship captain named Mal, and him and his crew are just kind of trying to make their way through the galaxy and earn a living by doing odd jobs. And these odd jobs oftentimes bring them into extreme danger and whatnot. So it's one of those. It's a Joss Whedon show, so it's got that Joss Whedon feel, like Buffy and Angel and stuff like that. But just in this totally different kind of universe, and it's really gritty and distinctive, and it's where I first discovered Summer Glau, who is just a dynamite looking chick, and she's just I've read up on her a little bit, and she sounds like a really interesting person as well. So and then after that, after I found out she was in that Terminators series, the Sarah Connor Chronicles from years back, I had to watch that as well, because she is just she's fantastic. So anyways, what I got was, unfortunately, they only had one figure from Firefly, and it was on sale. It was on the orange price tag, and it is Jane Cobb. One of the Baldwin brothers played him, and he was kind of the ship's bigger, muscly guy, and he had a temper, and he was not opposed to leaving people behind, even if they're their friends. Like he had loyalty, but only to a certain degree, right? So he was a really neat character. And yeah, I was really surprised to find, a Firefly toy. That seemed totally crazy to me, but so naturally, it being on sale, to make things even better, I snatched it up pretty quickly, right? So I think I'm gonna leave Jane in his box. I don't want to take him out. This one I think I'm gonna leave, but the other ones I'm gonna take out. So we will take those out right now, see what they look like, and then I'll take some pictures of them so you can get some more close-up detail, and then we'll shut this thing down and wait till next week when something even cooler is gonna be on its way. All right, so first up, Mer-Man. Thing was already half open. The dollar stores. So there's Mer-Man. Just a simple little plastic thingamajig. That's kind of the way he talked, right? He had the classic like water voice, bubbly. Man-at-Arms, same thing. He was almost kind of half open already. There he is. A very distinctive looking character with that helmet and the color scheme, right? There was a lot of green and yellow in He-Man, which I like. I like both those colors, so, worked for me. Next up is Sid. Now, this is a tougher type of packaging. I should have brought scissors. Shit. It feels like really old plastic though. Like, I feel like I can probably rip this. But yeah, easily. I think the only other little guy I have of this series, like McFarlane Toys, is Peter Forsberg from the Avalanche, which I can't stand Forsberg. I hated him as a player. He was just such a pain in the ass, right? And he had that bit of attitude, I was like, eh. And I was just sick of the Avalanche too, because they were so good back then and winning all the time. Love Joe Sakic though. Like, there's lots of Avalanche players that I liked, but Forsberg just rubbed me the wrong way. I never liked him. It's kind kind of like I like the Oilers these days. Like I've liked the Oilers for years as kind of a backup to the Leafs and stuff, even though they both sucked for a long time. But Draisaitl, something about him, he's got some kind of attitude I really don't enjoy, you know. All right, so there's Sid. I'll just move his stick down a little bit. There we go. That's looking good. And then he's got a little puck in here underneath the tape. Yeah, but Draisaitl's just got this kind of, I don't know, kind of weaselly kind of demeanor, right? Like when I hear him in interviews and stuff, and I'm like, I really want to continue loving the Oilers, but there's a, you know, stuff, guys like him make it harder, you know. So there's Sid and the He-Men guys, and now we got Slash. Let's pop this Funko. I try and have a better spot to do this, but in my man cave I don't really have the same type of table and space that I do where I do my Transformers ones, which I could have done this up there, but I didn't really want to. There he is, the Slash Man. Oh, cool. He's really, I like the material it's made of. Nothing really moves or anything. It's just one solid figure. But he's got good balance too, like, just kind of, or at least he did. There he goes. Yeah, so there we go. Slash, Sid, and the Masters of the Universe. Jane Cobb, an honorable mention, but he's still in his package. So there we have it. A bunch of fun stuff and all pretty affordable. Sid, I was surprised, was only like $6. I thought he would have been priced a little higher than that, considering he's one of, you know, the best players of his generation. And it was still brand new in the package. I was like, oh, $6, I'll do that. I'll do that. These guys are only $1 each, and they're not bad figures for being so small and cheaper, right? They're pretty solidly built, and the paint job too is pretty detailed and pretty good. So happy with that. The most expensive of the figures was Slash. He was about $13, and like I said, it's well balanced. It's heavy. It's solid. It's the detail and the paint on that too. There's a couple flaws up around the chest, just some rough patches where it looks like something might have touched it after the paint job was done. But either way, it's a really cool figure, and again, $13 isn't bad for a collectible of that type, right? And then of course Jane being on sale for $9, from such a cool series that I'm a big fan of. Really happy to add that too, and I think it's going to be really neat just to keep him in the box and have all of his accessories out like that and stuff like that and showing. And it's too bad they didn't have the other characters, because I would have loved to have gotten Summer Glau's character River, and Mal's as well would have been fun to have, but sometimes you go to the store, you look around, and you never know what you're going to come home with. You might come home with a bunch of stuff you were expecting, a bunch of stuff you weren't expecting, maybe hardly anything at all. You just never know. And that's what makes it so fun. This stuff is what makes it so fun. Till next time. Meow.